The music just feels so good. You're on to number one. Radio.com.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Are you ready?
What is going on, y'all? Welcome back. I'm super excited to have this amazing young artist on the phone with me right now. I have Soy. Soy, how are you?
Hi, Echo. I'm great, thank you.
See, I know that you're great because right now you're in Puerto Rico, right?
Yes.
Yes, you're in Puerto Rico where it's nice and sunny, and I'm in New York where it's nice and cold. So,
Sorry.
first off, let's go. So, do me a favor. If you can just email me some of that sun, I would greatly appreciate it. That'd be nice.
Seriously.
All right. And then, I mean, just Puerto Rico. I mean, it's just even if like you could be in Florida, that's great. But this is Puerto Rico. It's gorgeous and it's tropical and
It's perfect.
the smell of food is everywhere and it's just amazing. Gotta go back. Can't wait.
Have you ever been? Do you come often?
I've been to Puerto Rico, I think 3 times. I went out there for twice. I went out there for a wedding. And then I went out there when I was an artist. I went out there to do some ministry work out there. So it was gorgeous, and I loved it. And I cannot wait to go back. The music just sounded better out there. The food tasted better. I know. The sun just felt better. Like the whole thing, it was just great, and the people were gorgeous, and just the scenery, and listen,
Everything.
Sometimes PR gets a bad rap sometimes, but I mean when you look at the right places, it's such a gorgeous island. So I'm a little jealous right now. A little jealous.
I don't blame you. I would be jealous too, like I am lucky to have first of all, I'm lucky that I grew up in Puerto Rico.
Right.
This is where I spent all my childhood, and basically up to, I moved to Florida when I was 23, but I grew up here, and there's nothing like home, honestly. I have a small Airbnb
Nice.
next to my mom's house, so it's kind of like in her yard.
Right.
And when I come, I get to stay in my own place, but she's next door. She says she's cooking, and it's like I have my own, private chef, and having my family here. It's always. There's nothing like home, and I love Miami. I love to live in Florida, but Puerto Rico, like you said, it has that natural, the natural beaches. I live on the West Coast. When I come to Puerto Rico, I usually stay in the West Coast in Rincon, Puerto Rico, which is known by the sunsets and it's the capital of surfing. So it's really interesting, and I never know how much I miss Puerto Rico until I am actually here. Right. It's really great. It's grounding me. It's like I always feel like it's a reality check because Miami can be so glamorous at times,
right.
and Puerto Rico is always like, wow, it's just the nature, like you said, it's the food, it's the people, having that warmth of people that they're always like smiling, happy,
right.
mellow. Like I have to slow down when I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
It's been great, yeah.
Right. Like I feel like Miami is like they try to emulate certain parts of Puerto Rico and certain parts of Cuba and the Dominican Republic, but going back to Puerto Rico, it's the authenticity of it, the pureness of it,
you can't replicate that for sure.
Exactly.
Miami. I love Miami because, like you said, it has like that. Like it's so international, and it has the Cubans and the Venezuelans and Colombian and like all these Latinos, Mexicans, and all these different cultures that they have their own kind of like spot. Like you go Calle Ocho, you're gonna find all the Cuban food, and then and just like that. And it feels really warm as well, but there's nothing like home. I honestly think, and I've been lucky to be here during this time, December, where you have all the coquito going on, the parrandas, and parrandas actually it's something that always, when I think about that moment in time where I felt the most connected with music, like, oh yeah, that's what I want to do. It was actually throughout my childhood participating in these parrandas, because my family was always very festive, and they always were throwing all these kinds of parties for Christmas. And in the parrandas, you have the aguinaldos, right? And the aguinaldos are like the typical Puerto Rican holiday music, where you have kind of like a call and response from the person who's singing and everybody that's participating in the parranda. And I always remember that women were the one on the microphone, and they were all improvising these corridos. So for me, I always remember, like, looking up to them. Like, I was maybe 7, 8 years old, and I was like, oh my God, how can they possibly be coming up with this lyrics from their heads and make all this like beautiful music? And that was my inspiration. That's when I knew that's what I want to do. I want to be able to sing like that, So being in Puerto Rico, I don't always have the opportunity to be doing Christmas in Puerto Rico. So this has been a privilege this year to like spend 17 days here with family, for sure.
Nice. Now, was there like a specific performance? You talked about being in the atmosphere of the barandas, but was there like a one performance where maybe you were, I don't know, whether it was at a concert or kind of like because you were out there, you said till 22, so you were old enough, you were going to school. Was there like a performance that really showed you, like maybe the reaction from the crowd, but it really like showed you, wow, this is what I want to do. I want to sing for the rest of my life. Like, was there like a performance that really showed you that?
Well, honestly, like I said, it was when I felt the most connected with music was during the parrandas at Christmas time. Right. And because I guess because I was so young. It was in such young age, and throughout all my childhood, that we had all these my family always threw parties for Christmas where all the neighbors and we get a lot of tourists always in this part of town because of, like I said, it's like known as the capital of surfing in Rincon. So there's a lot of Americans that come here from everywhere, New York, South Carolina, North Carolina, everybody that loves surfing, they come here. So all these gringos, these are what we call them here, they used to come and hang out and, they just like crash the parranda. Gotcha. My family parranda. And I always felt very connected to that. But also the reggae scene was very big here in this part of the island because reggae music and surfing go hand in hand, kind of like, it's a chill vibe, everybody like peace and love, and I used to like, that was where I used to hang out with my girlfriends. Like every weekend there was kind of like some sort of reggae concert happening, and in my family I have a lot of my uncles, they know how to play instruments and sounds, and I was very drawn to the tambora. I don't play any instruments professionally, but the tambora, the drums, it was something that I grew up with. So that was always inspiring me. And writing. So I used to write kind of like poetry when I was like 12 years old. I started writing more poetry then, and then it was interesting to me to musicalize that poetry that I was making at that
Put
time.
some tempo into it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and exactly. And well, back then I also used to go to all the. My dad used to take me and my friends whenever there was a rap concert, like because he was performing Mexicano, like and Ivy Queen and all these you know rappers. Because growing up in Puerto Rico, that was big in the culture, in our culture, always, right? And he used to take me, take my friends, and I always enjoyed that too. You know, like just the and also my dad, it's a Fania super fan, and every weekend he was playing music in his Raviola, like Celia Cruz, Tito Puente, all these more typical Puerto Rican music. So having all that mix of flavors definitely connected me to wanting to sing.
Right.
But most importantly, like the writing, the writing to me, it's just something very special because I get to express whatever I'm going through. You know, it's very self-reflective. Like music to me, it's something that it's story to me. It's like the inspiration through me. It's healing. It's uplifting, and it's for me. It's necessary. Music. It's like. A reminder of my unity with spirit and nature. You know, like that's why I love to make music. Yeah.
What would you personally? What would you label your genre as?
Well, it's Latin reggae. That's how I would consider it mostly. But it's also a fusion because, I have a lot of dancehall and dubstep, electronic beats, and most recently with Norte Alas, that was kind of like a crossover to reggaeton, which was very, very fun. And that was interesting because Norte Alas, it's a collaboration with Cassandra Lark. She's the girl who produced the song, and she's in the music video with me as well. And she just, the way I usually write or make music, I like to write my songs first, and then I will send it to my producer, which is Pedro Namero, who's my music partner. Okay. And then he will create a beat around it.
Nice.
But Norte Alas was different because she sent to me the beat, and then she just sent to me the title. She said, there's a beat and the title Norte Alas. And then she just gave me freedom to do whatever I wanted to and write about whatever I wanted it to. So that was really, really fun. And that was during the pandemic time. Right. That was very quiet, and I just had all these time to write songs and music, and I was just really into a space where I didn't want to just be it needs to be reggae because that's mostly what I do. I was I'm just gonna flow with it, and that's what it came out, and that was really fun. That was really, really fun. So yeah, it's just a little bit of everything, I guess, a fusion, but mostly Latin reggae. That's what I would consider it.
So we're listening, we're listening to Norte Agas in the background right now. For those that don't understand Spanish, what does Norte Agas mean?
Norte Agas, don't pretend. Don't pretend. Okay. I guess that's how it will translate. Because it's like a song about. After you've spent time with someone and then things get fizzle and they walk down the street and then they pretend they don't know you, and then you're don't pretend. I know you remember me type of thing. Yeah.
So this, first of all, the song is dope. The song is really, really good, and
thank you.
It's got that again. It's got that. It's not to me, I think of reggae and I think of that real slow, grindy music. It's quicker than that, but it's slower than reggaeton, so it's right in the middle there. And then even the song itself has different parts. You got the part in the middle of whether it's the bridge, and it's just it's slow with the harmony, and it's playing right now that day. So when it came to putting the song together, Did you want to change it up in the middle like that? Did you want to switch it up where it's not just the same, the same tempo, the same kind of attitude throughout the whole song?
So when Cassandra gave me the beat, I wrote my verses, which is like all my parts I wrote myself.
Right.
And the chorus at that time was no te hagas, no, and it was repetitive. That's when Emiliano Torres came in, and he's a co-producer. He came in and helped us co-write that chorus to make it a little catchy, and he was like, well, ninguna tiene este flow, like no one has this flow. That was something that he brings to the table, which I love, because sometimes I tend to be a little bit too humble, so I was like, I don't want to say like nobody else, but he added that, and it was great. And Cassandra mostly does R&B, so she added that her part where you said like the bridge. I'm guessing that's what you feeling like, where it's like it's different. And her voice is super sexy, and I think the combination of the attitude that I have in this most of the song, and then she comes with it like a little bit more softer, like no, like Poppy, that Poppy at the end. I love it. I think it's really, really fun. So I didn't produce the song. I just wrote my lyrics, and I put my flavor to it, and then they took it away and they did magic with it, and they came back. I was like, whoa, like it's I didn't study music, I actually my mom used to own a hair salon here in Puerto Rico, and I was always writing, like, cause that it's something that I will never stop doing. Like writing to me, it's something that I kind of need, like. Like I said, it's almost like I feel like it's not even me, like it's the spirit through me. Like I just, when I get in that space, it's like I need to do it. But I grew up in a hair salon. I grew up like doing hair, and I was 16 when I was approached by one of my good friends and artists here in Rincon, and she wanted to produce her own album, and she knew that I like to sing, so she invited me to come with her to the studio, and we recorded her album here in Maya West, Puerto Rico. And the guy that ended up producing her CD at that time, he loved the way I flow, and the way I sing, and the way I was writing my music. So he was like telling me back then, and this was like, I don't know, I was probably like 18 when all this happened. He's like, one day we're gonna make music together, and it ended up being that years later in Miami. He had a studio, and he invited me. Actually, at that time, he had a huge reggae band called Los Goyos from Puerto Rico, and he invited me to play with them. But they were doing like shows, in like international shows. But I was at 16, and they were a band of like 10 men, and I'm like, I can't tell my mom, like, hey mom, I'm gonna drop school because I'm just gonna go touring with a bunch of guys doing reggae music.
I'm sure mom would have loved that.
No.
Sure
like, I don't think so.
Exactly.
And I was doing hair by then, because I used to work in the hair salon at that time with her. I'm still doing hair. It's been also like a passion of mine, and I was making music. I'm sorry, I was making money at that time. I was 16, so I didn't want to like just drop that, also. Anyway, it was how it was the first time I did music. That's how it happened, like collaborating with a friend of mine, and then that's how I meet my producer, who later on produced the whole album Diaz, which you said you heard some of the songs, so that was
really good.
That album. Was then, yeah. The album Diaz, because it was produced by it was produced by Alex Cirillo and Pedro Namero, and they were very into reggae roots, but mostly like the Latin reggae roots. Right. It's a little bit more upbeat because it has like a fusion of dance hall and they were doing electronic beats. So that's why the album Dia sounds very different than all the music that I've been doing after that. That was my first, the first album that I put out there, and it has a little bit of everything, that whole album, actually, that whole album of Diaz, I had been writing songs since like for years. I was writing, and I had all these songs that were just sitting there on my notebook until I met up with Alex Cirillo and Pedro and Amero, and that's when the project came alive. Because I would just, so every time I write a song, I have kind of like a pocket, which is kind of like a beat in my head,
right?
And I go from there. And what they did when they took the songs, they just put their own flavor, right? Like, so they were good at making reggae music and dubstep and all of that. So they kind of like, it worked great because it wasn't push. It wasn't like, we never sit in the studio, let's try to write a song.
Exactly.
It was just like, oh, the song is there, and I usually just send them a little voice memo, and they will be in the studio like, oh, we're gonna work on this right now. So Diaz is a very special song. I got to my sister got to collaborate in that song with me. She did the chorus. Yeah, she has a beautiful voice as well. The main song of that album, though, the one that had we produced a video and had a bunch of views, is the Quiero Más. Has a little bit more kind of like faster kind of beat than reggae, so that was great. And then a lot of musicians that worked in the album as well, like, they collaborated with me. Camilo Tumbao from Experimento, Emiliano Torres from Experimento, and it was just a mix of artists that based from Miami that came in, and they put a little bit of their own flow, and that's why that album came out so flavorful. Like it has a little bit of everything. Yeah, so and so good. It's mostly it has a lot of dubstep. That was a fun time, but that's very different than what I'm creating right now.
Right.
Like my because you evolve and it's I never like to be stuck on like, oh, it has to be like this, like. Or it may be because I didn't study music in a way that kind of helps me to have like that. The mind of like when you don't know anything and you're kind of like open to everything.
Exactly. You're willing to take chances because you're not, you haven't been taught like the box, inside the box way of doing things, so you end up doing things outside the box because it's almost like you don't know any better, you're willing to take those risks. The beginner's mind, beginner's mind, so surrendering to not knowing what's going to come next, and then and listen,
it's just
it's made for some really, really good music. It's made for some really, really good music. So keep doing it. Don't stop. You got something good going here, so just keep doing it.
Thank you.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome. You kind of talked about it a little bit before, but if for some reason you could not do singing, what would you do as a backup?
Yeah, so I'm currently a hairstylist. I have my own chair in a really cool studio in Miami called Flash Studio, and that's what I do. Like, music, it's part of my life, and I do that as well. But I have never stopped doing hair because music business can be a little bit hard sometimes. Yes. So I've been doing it for so long, and I really, it's something that gives me joy as well, to be able to change someone's look. It's an art as well. So I'm into art. I've done paintings. I've been commissioned to do paintings as well. As a matter of fact, I just hang today my first painting in my mom's. My first painting I did in 2010, and my mom wanted that painting, so it traveled with me from Miami, and I was able to hang it in her living room today. That was really great. So
that's awesome.
I always I love arts, and I think it's for me it's medicine. Like
Right.
there's always something to do. Never stop creating, painting, beauty, music. It's what I will be doing. Like definitely something related to arts.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, if you had and I mean, I guess it puts the two together, but the fact that you are a hairstylist and you love the art stuff, your look and your hair changes like in every other Instagram post that you put up. It's like is that soy or is that soy? It's just a different person. So,
well, a lot of people didn't even like understand what was going on in the last video of No Te Hagas because the looks were so different. And part of that was a lot of it was part of my team at Flash Studios. I have I'm so lucky to have so many talented people that are great at what they do, and they came together and they helped me to put all these different looks, and like from dressing me to like making sure the hair was on point. And of course, me being a hairstylist as well, I'm like very detail oriented, and that was really fun to me because I wanted, like, the song of No Te Hagas it's very direct. It's a song that it's direct. It's telling it could be a little strong at times, and I didn't want the video to just be the same, just like exactly representing every word that I say in the song. I wanted to be more mystical, to have a little bit more. That's why, and it was fun because I had the opportunity to kind of like direct at the same time.
Nice.
We had a great guy directing the video, but he gave us freedom to also put our input into it, and that's why it came out so good, I feel, because there was so many different looks happening, and
exactly.
Yeah, I definitely think that changing someone's look, you go into a different character in your mind, like, and I before I did the video, I actually I was taking dancing lessons because I wanted to have I didn't want to just like perrear, in the video I wanted to have a different kind of like vibe, which is why when you see the video it's kind of like a little bit Egyptian, but like mystic and like witchy and all of that. So, but it was rehearsed. I really took my time to make sure that it was gonna be perfect, when it came out.
So we're talking about the images on your Instagram, we're talking about the video, so we might as well go into what your social media is, because at this point, there are people out there that are like, wow, I've never heard of Soy. I love the vibe. I love the music. I love what she's saying. I want to follow her. I want to keep tabs on her. I want to, I'm in Miami. I'm in Puerto Rico. I want to go to one of her shows one time. So why don't you go ahead and let people know how they can find and follow you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me through This Is Soy Music. That's my Instagram that I control, because there's another one that it was I can't even explain if it was hacked or I never had access again to it. It's like around there, but This Is Soy Music is the one that I manage, and also on Facebook you can find me as the same, This Is Soy Music. And that's where I post whenever we have shows and the latest things that whenever I'm working on new music, that's where I put it. And to find the music, you can find it on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes. Yeah.
Definitely. All right. So now they know how to get a hold of you. Now they know how to find. Now they can see all your different hair colors and hairstyles. They can see all your different videos and all that. The whole Soy experience, because that's what I like to call it, because it's just a lot going on. And I really do hope that they check out the music, because the music is just, like I said, it's just really, really good. We've played Quiero Más before. Dope track. And so if you had, because we're getting towards the end here, if you had the opportunity to work with two artists,
I would love
that
to.
are alive. Who would they be?
Yeah. I would love to. I would love to do something with Summer Dub. It's a French artist, but he loops all his instruments. He's like one man show, and it's amazing. He's amazing. I would love to work with him and Skip Marley because he's Skip Marley. You know?
Okay, exactly.
He's so good.
Because he's Skip Marley. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's cool. That's cool. All right. And then the last question, and I just Soya, I know you're in Puerto Rico. I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you for having this kind of platform, to give exposures to artists like me that maybe it's a whole new. I mean, it's how do you say, un trabajo a tiempo completo or full-time job to do the social media, and it's hard when you're working on different things, So I really thank you for the opportunity.
Listen,
approach me and like giving me the opportunity to have this space to talk about my project and my music and who I am to share with all the people.
I just appreciate you answering, actually like responding back. I mean, I'm one of those people that was like, listen, the worst that they could do is either not answer or say no, and that's not going to break me. So I asked, and you jumped on. It was jumped on board, and we tried to get things set up. And you're busy. You're running your own business. You're running your own career. You're making videos, throwing out new music, and so I appreciate your time. I really, really do. What do you want? What do you want your listeners to take away from you about your music?
So when I do my music, I feel, like I said, connected to spirit, and what I want to be able to do is transport you to the beach or in the sunset in a serene scenario where you feel connected to that, and I want you to dance. I want you to connect to the words of the storytelling that that it's my writing, and have fun with it. That basically that's what I want people to take when they listen to my music.
Wow, that's awesome. That's it. Take me to the beach, Soy. Take me to the beach.
At least with a song, I will take you to the beach. If not,
it is cold in New York. It is cold in New York.
You need to get down here. I mean, it's been too long. You need to get down here.
I would love to, man. I miss Puerto Rico so much. Just everything about it. So, it's on the list. Wife, the kids, and they've never been. My two daughters has never been out there, and we've been trying to set something up. So that would be amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make it out there. I gotta make it out there. So. Soy, you
let me know when you come. I'll give you a tour around.
Definitely.
If I'm down here, I'll give you a tour.
I like that. Definitely. You're amazing. Thank you so much. Your music is so good. I'm so glad that somebody like you is changing the game with how she does her music, and not just kind of staying in one genre, and just expanding and just doing good music, and wherever it falls, and so it's our honor as a radio station to be able to play music like yours and get it out to people. So truly, gracias. Thank you so much.
Gracias.
I'm gonna stop talking now, and I want you to introduce your song because the people have to hear it. I can't wait for them to hear it. I'm gonna stop talking. Go ahead and introduce your song.
This is my new single, No Te Hagas. I hope you enjoy it. Bye.